down the hammer and pick up the pencil. You're about to listen to The Savvy Radio Show. Learn from real-life real estate investors, experience revealed with the Savvy Landlord as your host.
What's going on, Savvy Investors? This is your friend, Steve Van Kallenberg. You tuned in to The Savvy Radio Show. Man, I'm excited that you're in. I'm talking about two subjects, marriage and money today. And before you say I do, you should check yourself before you wreck yourself about money. I came across this article in Money Magazine, and I was kind of floored about it. It was well written, and I was like, man, I can add a lot to this, and I think a lot of people need to know this. And I have been down this road and crash and burn in the past, and so we're going to cover about 10 things that will help you increase if you're already married or thinking about getting married. And if you're thinking about getting married, think about due diligence. Here's some statistics. I'm reading it right out of the magazine. Money is the top cause of tension in marriages and common reason for divorce, surveys say. Interesting. What couples say causes the most stress in their relationships? 35% say finances, 25% say annoying habits, 12% children, 7% relatives. But the main reason, I like that, the main reason couples are divorced, it says 43% incompatibility, 28% infidelity, sexual issues, 22% money issues, and then 5.8%, emotional or physical abuse. Okay. So we're all struggle in our life. We think one thing and we do another one. Here's another statistic I thought that was interesting. Many people don't know the key number in their partner's personal finances, percentages. People don't know significantly about the other person. 48% do not know what's in the other partner's investment account balance. Interesting. 38% don't know about the other one's weekly spending. 32% don't know about the salary. And 31% don't know the bank account balance. Interesting. Well, marriage is interesting. And to have a successful marriage, I think to have a successful anything and whatever success is to you, I think it's the daily mantra of making yourself better so you can make your marriage better, your real estate business better, or whatever you desire to do in this world, hopefully for the better. It takes, I think, daily discipline of working on that subject, whatever you want to call it. So I read the article. I was inspired. So I dropped these 10 little points that I'm going to cover. Number one, you need to be upfront, bear all, not your nakedness. That's right. Your nakedness, bear all your assets and debts. Now, when I got married, we talked about debt. I just got over some huge debt that was just crushed me, and I was already anxious about debt. Don't like debt. Now I'm huge in debt now. Now this is business debt, but it's a different type of debt. But you need to be upfront with your future spouse, or if you're with a spouse right now, you need to come correct and bear all your assets and your debts, and you need to have your eyes wide open. And if you want a healthy marriage or a healthy relationship or even a healthy business, I know quarterly reports, monthly P&Ls, they just make things understand what you're doing in your business. If you are hiding anything from your spouse, it's only going to be a train wreck. So be upfront right out the gate. Number two, your family history. Now, at 43 years old, this makes complete sense to me now. I was that young, dumb person that just jumped on in and then figured it out as I went down. Not anymore. Now I'm up front. I want to know about it. You need to know about it, your spouse's history. Share it. If there are any concerns, you want to know about it. How did your parents do the money? Was it good, bad? Seek understanding. In my own life with my wife, this was very interesting. Her parents had separate accounts. Now, at first, I grew up with a single mom, so I don't have anything to compare that to. But at first, I was like, that's wrong. It should be, I had this fake vision of marriage should be perfect, in harmony, sex every day. I'm just teasing, but you have this preconceived expectation of what a marriage, a couple should be. And then when you hear someone, especially your spouse that you're married or you've already married, of course, these things I figured out later, don't go to those expectations, something's wrong. Now, I have matured over time, but how your parents are doing it? Have they educated you? Probably not, but you probably could learn from them or learn what not to do. So learn the family history on both sides and be upfront about it, and so you can grow from it. Number 3, don't be a stickler. I know this is tough for some of you guys. Now, marriage is an ebb and flow. It's a team. It's an effort. You got to work together. Now, here's an interesting thing. Some people pull their money together in a joint account. It's not necessarily right or wrong, but I think you need to know that on the conflict. Now, my wife, her parents were separate. She tried to bring that type of environment into our finances, and I was like, whoa, pump your brakes. I like to be full disclosure up front. Now, how we do it now, come to find out that my wife or myself, I'm not going to say who, women tend to be, no, I was just playing, more spenders. And so, man, we had to get this under control, especially if our goal was to have financial freedom. Now, I was already rolling in real estate when not large. I think I only had like 5 houses when I met my wife. But the thing is, we had to identify who is the spender, and we got to lock that spender down with a budget. And you need to be clear, it's all your and our money. You, man or female or woman, you may be running the money, but it's all your money. Just talk to the government. That's how they look at it. It's not separate. It's one. You may have separate accounts. You may be sly and try to duck and dodge. But the reality is, common law here in Oklahoma, I don't know about anywhere else, it's one thing. That money that you earned is your wife's. And that's the thing about marriage. You become one. If you start with dissension, it's going to end in dissension. You start with a plan, it's probably going to work out. We work together. We're a team. So how does it work for us? Well, we're going to get to that here in a minute. Number 4, don't be a killjoy. Okay. Overspending actually is the top conflict of marriages. It just makes sense because when someone, your other spouse, goes and buys a 4-wheeler, it creates some sort of tension. In my world, I try to be fair. Okay. I set monthly amount of budget that we use for food or resources like clothes, and then also some fun money. And we just equally try to get that in place. Now, it's interesting when you are in real estate, you have a ways of expenses that may seem more grandioso than someone else, like a pickup truck. Like, let's just say you guys are really trying to cut corners and save as much money as possible. And you got a 20-year-old minivan, and your husband is dipping in a brand new 2017 F-150 Bing Bing. Okay, that seems a little skewed. You got to play fair. Well, you could say, well, my business pays for that, and that's probably true. But here's the thing that I realized, that, my wife was already successful in my mind. She had 3 degrees. She was in medical school, doing the gift and craft that she wanted to do, radiation therapy. And her dream was to be a radiation therapist. Well, I was already working on my dream as a real estate investor. So I realized now it came down to, it was getting kind of interesting because her dream may have taken her and moved her, but we focused on her dream in the beginning, and we paid off debt with the money that she earned through her job, and we focused on her dream. And then at the same time, we were able to work on my dream. I did my dream on the side. And then now we have a dream together. And then now she is a full-time stay-home mom. So, but we worked this out. It wasn't a killjoy like, hey, you're working your job and I can't do what I want to do. I think that you need to have a fair compromise within reason, right? So my wife just doesn't run out and drop money on some purses. Like, that's just counterproductive, because we have a culture in our home is that called financial freedom. We want to buy assets. We want to increase the kingdom. We want to do these certain things. Well, we have to make sacrifices. If we drop $300-400 on a purse, that's just counterproductive in my mind. Is it wrong that people want to buy purses? No, it's not wrong. That's your choice. But if you want to be wealthy quickly, only buy things that are going to make you money. I don't think a Coach purse for $300 is going to make you money. It might make you feel good, and maybe making you feel good makes you work harder or produces more. Well, then you maybe need a Coach purse. But in my world, we only spend money on things that are going to make us money, period. This is how we roll. This is how we do it. Number 5, be a team. That's right. 5 is team. Now, I learned this the hard way when my wife would bring up something that would frustrate me. Like maybe I did something wrong or didn't do something right, and I would feel like I was attacked. And then I realized my wife, through her patience, was like, look, we're on the same team. Okay. We're fighting for the same thing. And, when she would bring up something that maybe was a conflict, I felt like I was attacked. And then I had to change my mindset and realize that, look, I'm married to this gal. She married me, thank God. And now we're a team. We don't conflict as a team. We plan and we work together. And then as a team, you set a goal. Maybe that would be to attack debt together or buy real estate together. Whatever the team is doing, you do it together, but it's not an attack. So remember, you're in a team. So let's recap real fast, because I'm kind of getting deep on stuff here. Number 1, be upfront. Number 2, family history. Number 3, don't be a stickler. Number 4, don't be a killjoy. Number 5, be a team. Number 6, financial priorities. As I've already kind of massaged into that, what is your I was up clear before we even said I do. I laid it out. This is what we're doing. This is where we're going. This is not going to be easy. It's going to take some work. We're going to sacrifice now so we can live like no one else later. And I'm telling you, that was not easy, especially seeing nothing to show for it for a long time. But I promise you, when I get my wife on the radio, I'm going to break this off. I'm telling you, was it worth the effort, the sacrifices that we made? And I was up front. I'm like, this is my goal. This is the Rich Dad, Poor Dad book that changed my life. This is where I want to go. If she wasn't down, then I wasn't down. And I know there's some men and women out there that are hurting right now. And I'm going to speak to you and hopefully speak life. You can come together, and I think with over time, just handing them a book and say, reading it, I don't think that's going to change it. You living it out, making the right sacrifices, saving the money, working hard, buying assets will be the best way to convert someone that's a naysayer or maybe not on the team. But you got to lay it out. I'm like, this is what we want. And it was interesting when we were getting financially free. My wife was working at a job, and she actually came up to me and said, hey, can I quit my job? And I was like, hey, I don't know about that. Why? Well, we make enough money and we blank, we're living this and I don't know if this was spiteful. I don't know if this was the Lord. I can't tell you exactly, but I remember saying this very specifically. And this is something that I got to get Shanae on the team and ask her what she said. I was like, just give me a little bit longer. And I don't know if it was a test to see what she would say, but she held on for one more year, and then she quit her job. And for me, it was just a security purposes. Or do we have enough in savings? Do we have these key things in place like medical, health insurance, these things that we need to know? And then we wrote down goals together, and we agreed on these goals. We need to buy this many houses. This many houses will yield this return, so we can do this. And the key thing is that you've got to write this stuff down. Like, have a marriage journal. Have a financial marriage journal. I don't know what you want to do, but write out the goal. We would like to have $10,000 a month passive income so we can do these certain things. And these certain things are what? Travel, maybe a private school for your kids. Whatever your goals or dreams or aspirations are, you've got to write them down so you can honestly pursue them. If you don't have a plan, you won't go anywhere. Number 7, decide on your role. This is my favorite, because what is your aptitude? What is your interest in money, in management of the family finances? Whose responsibility is it? And then ask yourself, what's the time commitment? Now, I struggled with this for a long time, but I'm the one that's all in to the finances. And guess what? I'm the one that runs the finances. Now, this is not necessarily a man thing, a lady thing. It's the one that has the aptitude, the one that has the interest, the one that has the time commitment. Where are you on your travels? If you were traveling a lot, this may not be the person to run the home finances. Are you detailed? Are you creative? Are you creatively detailed? Decide on your role. Who has a W-2 job? Who's self-employed? What's the system? How are we going to work the system? And then here's a point. Who's the risk taker and who has risk reverse? Find out. I'm the risk taker of the family, and my wife is a risk taker because she chose me because I was flumpy dump in the beginning, right? Decide on your roles for yourself, for each other, and agree upon them. If you're going to start a business, who's going to be the CPA? Who's going to do the sales? How's it going to go down? Number 8, ask for help. You've got to get other people involved. Maybe not so much economically, like this is how much we make, this is what we're going to do. But hey, run a plan by someone else. Is it an older couple? Maybe a successful couple. Or maybe it's an individual man. That's who I when I try to make a life decision or I have a financial plan, I call another man. Now, that man, he has a relationship with his wife and he runs the money in that organization. I call marriage an organization. Or maybe there's a lady in your life, and you're a gal, and you need some advising on that side. Another thing that you might want to consider is hiring a coach, a financial coach together. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know who to call. I don't even know what to Google up. But maybe a life coach or something that it helps you keep it fair for each other. Like there's a unity. I remember when I met my wife and we were getting to this point where we're like, okay, this needs to go somewhere, but we have a lot of conflict. There's a lot of frustration. There was a lot of misunderstanding. And of course, I had a lot of baggage bringing into this relationship. Well, my wife was like, we need to go to marriage counseling before we were even married. And I was like, all right, that sounds good. Who's going to pay for it? Where are we going to go? Well, sure enough, my wife is a turbo. She found someone, and long story short, it was a really good experience before we even married to keep it fair. I'm frustrated about these things that she does, aka spending. And I remember the marriage counselor saying, Stephen, how much does it cost? Do you think it costs for a lady's jacket, a rain jacket? And I was like, I don't know, $60. And they started laughing. And, no, it's like $130 or something to that effect. it really opened my eyes and it kept it fair. And so if you do hire a coach or even a counselor of sorts, it will save time. You can save on mistakes. I think that you can grow faster when you have someone else looking on your behalf. Number 9, don't be a prisoner of the past. Man, listen, I had some rough relationships in the past, and it brought some baggage to my marriage, which is just a humbling thing to even just declare that here to you. But that's the old Stephen. This is the new. This is where I'm at today. This is what I want to do. I want to grow. I want to be better. I don't want to struggle. And I want to have a healthy, amazing marriage. And I want to make a lot of money at the same time. And so for me to do that, I've got to be upfront and honest, and I got to drop the past. I'm not a prisoner of the past, and I've got to get my wife on board so we're on the same page. Number 9, don't be a prisoner of the past. F the past, move forward. And number 10, do it now. Don't delay. Stop dragging your feet. And I'm speaking to the men right here. Man, fellas, be the leader. And women, if you feel like you need to be the leader, or there's 2 gals and 2 guys, whatever your family dynamic is right now, someone needs to be the leader and say, hey, this dude, Van Kallenberg, he's speaking something into our life. We need to do something. If it's just roll down to the Barnes & Noble, pick up a book together on financing, and just skim it together. Get the conversations going. Like, if you had $10,000 today, what would you do with it? Or where would you like to travel? Or how many kids would you like to have? Or where would you like to live? If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be? Where do you like your circumstances now? What would you change? Money is a powerful thing. It could kill, it could destroy, but it can also do wonderful things as well and build buildings to house things like the landlord lunch where you can grow together. Anyway, I don't know if this was deep for you. This was definitely deep for me. And it was so deep for me that I was like, man, I'm going to do a landlord lunch on it. So if you're in Oklahoma City next month, the 3rd Wednesday in June, holla at your boy, show up at noon, bring your lunch, and we're going to break down money and marriage. If you like this subject, if you didn't like this subject, comment. That's cool. It's all good. You have a voice. Let's be heard. If you want to know about something else, or if there's a point that I didn't cover, sometimes my mind goes ballistic and I forget to say stuff. It's okay. I may have forgotten it. Let me know and I'll bring it to you. Thanks for listening. The Savvy Radio Show.
Thanks for listening to The Savvy Radio Show. Glide online and listen to our other motivating episodes at SavvyRadioShow.com. Connect on Twitter at LandlordBook and always be buying assets.